90% of players make a massive mistake on their serves that costs them a ton of power. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to fix it. So what is this mistake? It's called muscling the ball. So when I hit these serves, you might not see anything wrong with them, but there's a mistake that I'm doing, and you're probably doing the same thing. So muscling the ball is essentially where you're trying to hit the ball hard, or you're trying to hit the ball hard with your strength, which you shouldn't be using your strength to hit the ball hard. You should be using momentum. So I'm sure you've come out to the courts before and you've seen a scrawny little guy with skinny arms, not very strong, hit serves really hard. And there's actually a lot of players like this, because in order to hit serves consistently hard, you don't need to be strong. You need to know about what I'm going to tell you. So there's a specific way to do this that involves being loose, using momentum, but it's not just about being loose, right? There's a specific time that you need to be loose, and there's specific things you need to be doing with your arm and your body to get the momentum from being loose. So now I'm going to take you step by step through what those things are. So while the stroke of a serve is one continuous motion, it can be divided up into different sections, and you have to understand each section to get loose power consistently. So the first part is the take back. The second part is the acceleration. We have our contact here, our rotation, and our follow through. So you have to understand exactly how to do these things to get the most power with the least effort. So that's the thing we're trying to go for here. You want to feel like you're putting less effort into your serve, because if you do all these things in unison, it shouldn't feel like you're trying as hard. So that's sort of what the title of this video comes from. You're not actually swinging slower. You're doing things together to create a kinetic chain of energy that makes your paddle travel faster with less effort. So if you're feeling like you're swinging super hard with your arm, you might not get as much power as if you do what I'm about to explain. So it starts with the take back. Take back is where we start up like this, and we put our paddle down into where we're going to accelerate forward. So a lot of beginners start from down here and just go like this, which is fine to start off. But if you want a powerful serve, if you watch pros, you'll realize they all start up here and they drop their paddle down. This is called the loop. So I'm doing a C motion, which gets my paddle into the acceleration slot, and it gives me momentum to accelerate into the ball. All you need to know about the loop, it doesn't really matter exactly how you do it. There's a lot of different ways to do the loop. You're starting from a higher position, and you're dropping your paddle into a lower position to get momentum. And the only thing you have to think about when doing this is you want to have a loose as possible arm. So if your arm is tight when you're doing the loop, it doesn't actually help at all because you're not getting momentum. You want to feel like your paddle's falling into position, because if you're loose, you can actually carry that momentum forward into the ball. So if you're doing a loop, start up, go to your acceleration slot, and you accelerate. But you want to be loose throughout that whole process. So the next part of the swing is called the acceleration. So after I do my loop, I should end up right here, slightly below where I'm going to hit the ball, which I'll tell you why I'm below it later. But all you need to know is the acceleration is where I'm moving my paddle forward to hit the ball. And the most important part of getting power is in this step. So what that is as I'm accelerating towards the ball, it should be very loose. And what happens when I'm loose and do this is my paddle lags behind my wrist. So as you see, when I'm accelerating towards the ball, my paddle is pointing backwards. My butt cap, the bottom of my paddle, is pointing forwards in front of me. And the reason that that's important is because when I do this, it gives me way more power when I make contact. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to have a neutral wrist, and you don't want to be accelerating like this. You get no power. I cannot hit the ball very hard when I do that. If I'm loose from up here, I'm getting momentum with my arm, but as I start to accelerate, I'm building up energy in my wrist so that I can snap through on contact. So when you're accelerating towards the ball, you need to be super loose still with your arm and your wrist. Your butt cap should be facing forward as you're going into it. So you're never going to be hopping around the ball. You should be accelerating with the paddle facing back. And when you make contact with the ball, you should actually still be facing back for the most part. So we call this the flashlight technique, because as you're going forward to hit the ball, you want to feel like you're shining the bottom of your paddle like a flashlight in front of you. And guys, throughout this video, if you're confused with any of the tips I'm giving, make sure to drop questions in the comments and I'll try to help you out, or another player will help you out. So drop questions in the comments if you have any technical questions.
Hey, real quick, Just announcing the launch of our new paddle, the Sweet Spot Team. Our goal was to bring you the best materials at the most affordable price. It features a T700 carbon fiber face, usually found in paddles priced between $100 and $200. Since you're watching our YouTube channel, use code TEAM at checkout for $20 off, bringing the price down to just $49. This price is unheard of for this quality, so if you're looking for a high-quality paddle without breaking the bank, this could be the best option. If you're interested in our other paddles, this code works for those too.
The next part of the swing, though, goes hand in hand with our acceleration. So a big mistake that players make that makes them muscle the ball is when they're doing their acceleration, they do what we call arming the ball. So that looks like this. I'm using entirely my arm to get the power. And when I do this, it feels like I really need to put force behind it. So generally, when you're doing your acceleration, you should be doing your rotation in tandem with it. And a lot of the time, your acceleration is actually mostly your rotation. So look at this. Look how little I have to move my arm to hit this ball, right? If I don't move, that just looks like this. I'm literally barely even accelerating at all. So when I get into that acceleration slot, my acceleration should be driven and triggered by the rotation of my shoulders and hips. So these two things need to go together. And when you do that, the end of your paddle is moving so much faster than if you just use your arm. So that's how you have to do that in order to get the highest possible power. And when you do this, it also requires a lot less effort to hit the ball hard because your body is doing a lot of the work for you. So if you haven't done this before, next time you're hitting your serve, try to accelerate while also rotating. You can do this closed stance like I'm doing here. You can also do this open stance. So it doesn't really matter. You can hit hard both ways. It's more of a preference thing. I'm a closed stance server, but a lot of pros serve open stance because it makes it a little easier to rotate when you're open. Regardless, when you're accelerating, also drive your hip and your shoulder through the ball. And that's how you get the most possible power. And that's how you use the loose energy from your loop and your flashlight technique. The next thing, though, is also really important. And all these things together are what's giving you the ability to use power with less effort. And when you can use less effort, it makes you more consistent. So I can hit the ball pretty hard actually by muscling it like that, but I'm not going to be as consistent when I'm muscling the ball. So by being loose, I'm able to hit harder with less effort. It's easier on my body and I'm more consistent. So that's sort of the reason why we do it this way and we don't try to muscle the ball. The next step, though, is your contact point. So obviously, when we're going through our acceleration and we're rotating our shoulders, the whole goal is to make our paddle move as fast as possible through the ball. So the reason we're coming from below the ball is because as we're accelerating, we want to be going a little bit up. So watch this. I'm going a little bit up so that I can get topspin, right? So when I'm going through the ball, my wrist should be laid back until I make contact. As I make contact, it should flex through a little bit. So I do something sort of like this. I'm flexing through the ball. I'm also coming up the back of it a little bit to give myself topspin. That little flex gives you a lot of power if you do it right. You don't want to do the flex too early though. Your wrist should still be pretty much laid back when you're hitting the ball. The flex comes right after, right? So after I hit the ball, I should be facing my paddle a little bit more forward, okay? So when you're making contact, you're going to be coming into it with a slightly laid back wrist, and you finished slightly flexed. You want to come over the ball a little bit for topspin. The other part of the contact point that's important is you don't want to be hitting the ball too close to. So we call this alligator arming it. You don't want to be alligator arming it like you have a short arm. You get way more leverage if you're hitting the ball farther away from your body. So I'm hitting the ball further away from my body, my paddle is going to be moving faster because I'm making my arm longer. So it gives you more leverage, also lets you extend further through the ball. Those two things give you more power. They give you more control. There's a reason why almost all the best servers make contact with the ball out to the side, out in front of their body like this. So you also obviously have to be hitting it below your waist to make it legal, but you should be out to the side of your body, out in front. That's going to give you the most leverage, and it's going to be the best place to continue the kinetic chain of energy that we're creating with all the other steps. The other reason why it's good to hit the ball out in front is when you're hitting the ball out in front, this allows you to get your weight into the ball. So we're not just rotating, right? we also are rotating and leaning forward. So it's actually even okay if I hit my serve and I step into the court after it. You want to be getting your weight into the ball because the weight behind your acceleration also gives you a little bit more power. So make sure you're going out in front to the side so you get all the benefits of a perfect contact point. To make this happen, just make sure you're tossing it out to your side. You don't want to be tossing it in front of your body. I personally just drop mine from the side like this, which makes it so I'm always getting that perfect contact point. You can also toss it up a little bit. It's more of a preference thing there too. Just make sure you're tossing it in a way where your contact point is consistent and you can get it right here every time. So the last part of my swing that's very important is the follow through. It's super neglected. So this is what happens after I hit the ball. So after I make contact with the ball and I finish, this section right here is my follow through. And you think it's not important, you're wrong. Because imagine this. Imagine people that played golf hit the ball like this, and they stopped right after they hit the ball. They wouldn't be able to hit it as well. They wouldn't be nearly as accurate, and they wouldn't have as much loose energy going through the ball. So the reason we do the follow through is so that we emphasize that loose motion directly through the ball. So when you do your follow through, after, all you want to do is finish up over here somewhere towards your shoulder. You can go over your shoulder, you don't have to. The reason we go up is because that helps us emphasize getting top spin. But the main thing you want to consider is going forward. So you want to be feeling like you're going forward on your follow through and you're extending through the ball. This makes you have a cleaner swing. So when I'm hitting my follow through, I'm trying to point towards my opponent, then point up. So if I do a slow motion, I extend forward and I extend up so that I get that top spin and I get that extension that gives me that loose energy through the ball. So remember, never neglect your follow through and focus on all the aspects that we just went through if you want to get more power with less effort on your serve. And guys, right now we're trying to become the first pickleball channel to get 250,000 subscribers. Help us make history. Hit the subscribe button below the video and we can be the first channel to ever get us in the sport. And guys, if you want to watch a video about how to move your feet properly in pickleball, watch this.